Welcome to episode 199 of Cinematic Anarchy. We're closing in on 200 here, and just before that 200th episode comes out, hopefully before we have to move over to a new distribution option, I had something to say here. I was going through something, and my brain was on the right track, and then it just skipped the track here, and I'm not even going to delete this. I'm just going to keep moving forward. We're moving on to 200, hopefully, in a couple days, and we'll have 1, 2, 3 episodes in quick order. And today, for this episode on Bad Dads, we have Matt and Rachel from the Strange and Beautiful Book Club podcast. Hello, hello.
Hello.
We had Matt and Rachel, now we have Matt. Hi.
Now we have Matt, Rachel, and a child that should be in bed.
Hey, my kid walked through here just a minute ago as well, but he was being helpful. So I don't know. Helpful on your end, maybe?
This one needs something.
Oh, okay. So, well, helpful, needy. Mom can be helpful to the kids, right? So, this being the Bad Dad episode, we're basically doing the same thing that we did with the last episode. Slightly fewer people, so maybe not quite as much overlap. We'll see. And we're basically just counting down our favorite bad dads in cinema, our top 5. And any honorable mentions if we want to just kind of run through a couple that we might think of off the top of our heads.
I think that sounds good. And I'm back.
Leave it open. So, we will start with number 5, moving to number 1, and we'll start with you guys.
One moment, I'm giving my child bonus time on his phone.
I already did it.
Oh, you did?
Oh.
Okay, well, he got extra bonus time. Okay. Woo. So we started, probably one that we both have is Jack Torrance from The Shining.
Oh, okay, so your number 5 was Jack Torrance.
I just kind of, I'm going to go with that one because I know we probably both have that one.
Oh, we definitely both have Jack Torrance, yes. He is... Jack Nicholson from The Shining, yes, is definitely on my list. Or, Steven Weber plays him in the miniseries, if I'm not mistaken. So they did.
I'm not sure I've ever seen the miniseries.
They did a horrible reboot miniseries. It's one of those things that they're doing the same thing that they did really, really well so long ago, and Stanley Kubrick did the whole thing, and you think, what, you're going to do better by lengthening it a little bit and having Steven Weber step in for Jack Nicholson? Maybe not.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Well, I feel like all Stephen King miniseries are hit and miss. Like, they had The Stand was incredible, and then just some of them are like, no one needed to make that a miniseries. He's a better movie than he is a miniseries, usually.
What did you think of the remake of The Stand?
I couldn't watch it.
Yeah.
I want to watch it, but every time I turn it on, I'm like, no, this is not right.
I watched the whole thing all the way through, and every moment of it, I'm like, this is ruining something, this is ruining something, this is ruining something.
Yeah.
No. I couldn't.
No. It was out of order. Like, as soon as I realized it was going to be out of order, I was like, I don't, that's not, no. Like, I don't want the story to play out like that. I want to start at the beginning and go through to the end. And they tried to, like, I don't know, like, put some more drama in the first couple of episodes by including later scenes. And I was just like, I hate this. Even Alexander Skarsgård didn't get me through it.
Yeah, my biggest, and this is going to be like a very, very, very loose complaint, but my biggest complaint is, that Matt Fuhr, Mr. Max Headroom himself, will always be the trash can man for me. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
My life for you! I love that miniseries so much.
I am looking through this to try to find the trash can man on here, and I can't. I just can't. I'm literally just Googling whoever the hell it was that played the damn thing, and I can't find it. Oh, Trash Can Man. Oh, okay. Trash Can Man was Ezra Miller, the Flash.
Oh.
No.
Oh. You know what? That makes sense.
Maybe that's why I couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah, he didn't groom you, so how could you remember?
Though Alexander Skarsgård playing Randall Flagg was not that bad.
I mean, it's Alexander Skarsgård. I know it's going to be good, but everything around him needs to be good, too.
Jamie Sheridan was better in the original miniseries, but Alexander Skarsgård, the Skarsgård, that name in general, it holds a lot of weight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great roles behind all of them.
I mean, is there going to be fake corn? If there's not going to be fake corn, I don't want to be here. Like, remember the fake corn in the miniseries? Apparently, they shipped in real corn and it all died because it turns out when you pull up corn, it doesn't stay alive. And so they just bought fake corn and stuck it in the ground to make the cornfield. Anyway.
Oh, I mean, you gotta cut your budget down on special effects in certain areas when you're doing especially made for TV miniseries.
Oh yeah. With Molly Ringwald in it.
Oh come on! What about
you don't have budget for other stuff? Although I heard Christopher Nolan in Interstellar planted actual corn for the cornfield scenes, and then had the corn harvested and made a profit on it.
Oh,
I mean that's the way to do it.
Get creative.
Get creative.
I mean, not only you're cutting your budget down, but you're making some money back.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like I put all that money into
you
planting
get legit corn for your truck driving through a cornfield scenes.
Yeah. All right. So what was your number 5, Chris?
I just want to start off.
Go ahead.
Are we excluding all Disney fathers?
No.
No.
No? Okay. Because I feel like you could get 100. You can get 100 bad dads.
One of the ones
because
on our list is a Disney dad.
The default conflict introduction in Disney is
bad dad,
bad father.
Yeah.
I mean, mind you, I don't have any on my list that are Disney related. I don't think. One kids movie, which is my number 5, but definitely nothing Disney. Well, actually, no. One might be Disney related now because Disney did buy out the franchise. So.
All right, go ahead.
I forgot to introduce the racetrack behind me, so we have people just flying away over here. But I'll start with my number 5. My number 5 is Mr. Wormwood from Matilda, Danny DeVito.
Ah.
I mean, bad dad, neglectful dad, number 1. Oh, see, we have a lot of crossover here.
Yeah.
He's a good bad dad.
Honestly, Danny DeVito plays fantastic, scummy characters.
He
really does.
Yeah.
He plays them so well, you almost love him, but you hate him.
It's a little suspicious.
Well, he was so kind to the little girl that played in that movie. I think that's why I have a hard time seeing him as a bad dad, because her mother...
You know the story.
Yeah, her mother was dying of cancer while she was filming that. And so he took care of her, and then he got a screening copy to her mom.
Yeah. Was he actually married to the lady that played his wife in the movie?
Rhea Perlman, yeah.
I think so, yeah. And they took her in. They took care of her during filming, and then they arranged for a screening for her mom.
I think if I'm not mistaken, they recently, or not recently, but in the past 5 to 10 years or so, they've separated. But they were married at the time of the filming, if I'm not mistaken. So Danny DeVito, Mr. Wormwood, horrible father. Danny DeVito, the guy that played Mr. Wormwood, really nice guy.
Better.
Really nice guy.
Really nice guy. So, kudos, Mr. Danny DeVito, for being both a scumbag and a real-life nice guy.
Yeah.
You played the best scumbags and apparently can be really, really sweet. So, okay. So, where were you for number 4?
We did the dad from Frozen. That's our Disney one.
Oh, so
I don't even think her parents get names. They're just their parents. But he's the one that when Elsa accidentally hits Anna with magic, he's like, "Oh, let's take them to the gnomes to get them fixed." And so they get Anna fixed, and the gnome guy is like, "Well, as long as she doesn't remember her magic, she's gonna be fine." And the dad asks no clarifying questions. He's like, "Okay, so keep her locked in a room." Heard. And he takes her back to the castle, and he's like, "Here, Anna, you get to roam around and be free, but you can never leave because none of us can ever leave. Oh, and we're going to lock Elsa in this room, and instead of teaching her how to control her abilities, we're just going to tell her to conceal, don't feel, give her a pair of gloves, and just try not to be yourself ever. Okay? Great."
self-denial for the rest of your life.
And then he rides
all the
off on a
time.
ship and dies. And his
Okay.
daughters don't talk for like 18 years.
Just bad families in general coming out of the Disney area. Like,
It's so
Yeah.
bad.
It's about kids that survive like massive trauma,
Yes.
basically.
Yeah, and usually the mothers are dead. I think there's only 2 Disney movies where the mother is alive. It's like Mulan and maybe one other one.
Moana.
Moana.
A lot of step parents.
I think there's maybe another one.
Yeah, there's
I can't
usually
remember the name.
either stepmothers, and then the parents are either all gone or they have a dad, and the dad is usually just not a great dad.
Has there ever been an evil stepfather? Dead silence. I can't. Nobody can think of one.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. There's that whole era of Disney where they don't have princesses. It's that cool, like Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, the Atlantis one.
Yeah.
That whole era is always really good, and there might be one in there. There's definitely more traditional villains, like in the Atlantis one. The bad guy is like an actual bad guy, like a mercenary.
Okay.
Instead of a evil stepmother with magical powers who hates her daughter for being prettier than she is.
Gotta love that vanity. Honestly, Frozen was one of those movies that I thought I was going to escape without having to hear a lot from. Honestly, my kids both watched it once through and were like, "Oh, okay, that was a movie. Nice."
Yeah.
And then my niece, my sister-in-law's daughter, was obsessed with the film, just obsessed. So every time we'd get together, all you heard from her for the longest time was her just singing the song. Was it "Let It Go"?
Yeah, let it go.
Just constantly, "Let it go, let it go." But that was the only part that she knew. Is just that part.
Yeah.
That she could remember and sing, and she'd just be twirling around, or she'd be sitting in her seat eating, "Let it go," you know, and. And so we don't have conversations with the niece during this point. She's just got that in her head, and then it's all this is us getting together and her eating, and all this other stuff is just that intermittent period between her watching the movie and then going back to watching the movie.
Oh, I am fortunate in that neither one of my children like Disney movies, but usually they'll get peer pressured into watching them once, and that's when I watch them. And then fortunately, I almost never have to watch them again.
Yeah.
Honestly, watching Frozen 1 is worth it to watch the part in Frozen 2 where the male love interest gets like a boy band style musical interlude with a bunch of reindeer as his backup singers. That's like the best part of the second movie.
My kids both had weird film love progressions. Just very weird. So, like, my daughter, she never really liked watching kids' movies or television show. I think my wife raised her on X-Files. You know, raised her on
Okay.
X-Files and stuff like
Respect.
that. So we had X-Files and Buffy and Angel and all that stuff, and Charmed, and basically all that kind of stuff is what my daughter was raised on. So her first movie that she was absolutely obsessed with, which didn't make any sense to me. We weren't rewatching all these other weird films. The one that she made me rewatch the most had nothing to do with Disney. It was Tom Hanks in Castaway. She loved. And she was obsessed.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
She was obsessed with the panicked scene where he's screaming after Wilson
Oh, okay.
when he loses Wilson. Wilson! And my son, he went from watching like mid-level anime directly into horror movies.
Okay.
So there was no transition, just
That's an interesting pipeline.
horror.
Our kids, the only movies our kids like to rewatch are usually Studio Ghibli, but like Nausicaa and the Valley of the Winds, the one with the like toxic jungle and the giant insects, that's their favorite.
Okay, well that's admirable.
With the ohms. I don't know why, but they love the ohms.
They love the ohms. They wrap themselves up in blankets afterward
And
and
pretend-
crawl around on the floor
Pretend to
and
be
gobble
ohms.
stuff up. Yeah.
Mama, the ohm is coming for you. And they'll like stick their fingers out the front and do the like
Yeah.
ohm fingers.
So their fingers be the little tentacles coming out
And
of
they
their
liked
mouths.
Unico. My son loved Unico. He watched
Oh yeah,
both
he's
of the
rewatched
Unicos.
it multiple times by
Yeah.
himself.
I don't know why. it's like the little pink unicorn that's a boy. And so every time I refer to Unico as her, he's like, "It's a boy, Mama." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, okay, Unico, the animated male pink unicorn. My apologies."
You can use your imagination to make it whatever you want.
I know. I mean, they play more video games than they watch movies. I'm hoping someday they'll eventually want to watch movies, but
today is not that day.
Today is not that day.
My son is about half and half. He likes playing video games, but that's more of a social thing. He plays them socially with his friends, and then he likes to watch movies, but it's tough to get him to watch movies with the family unless I'm like adamant about putting like a new horror film on the television.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Last one that we watched together as a family was like Late Night with the Devil. And then the one just before that was Beau is Afraid, which was a good film.
Okay.
I believe that's Ari Aster directing, what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ari Aster films are always trippy.
Yeah.
So.
And I like Joaquin Phoenix.
Have you gotten to watch that film yet? Beau is Afraid?
I don't think... No, not yet.
It's one of those films that when it ends, you're just like, it's over. I don't understand. And I watched it all the way through the credits, like waiting. This is it? That was it? Well, because it doesn't it doesn't cut away. Like it stays where it was. I'm not going to give anything else away.
Okay.
But it's one of those movies that once it ends, you're just like, I don't understand. Why is this over now? I'm confused. It should have been called Beau is Confused.
Oh, good. You're selling this movie really hard. Nothing happens, and I didn't even know it ended. Okay.
Well, it's. I want to sell the film here a bit, but like I'm trying to remember the specific plot line behind the film, and it was just
Joaquin Phoenix. It's fine. We'll watch it.
Yeah.
I've seen buzz about it. I just
go watch a movie that I'm confused about, and I can't remember anything about, and. It was
the
there.
way you're struggling to remember the plot reminds me of our book review episode on Creatures of Light and Darkness.
Oh, we read this just weird book.
It's like a formative
Matt was
sci-fi
trying to explain
book.
what happened, and he couldn't remember anything that happened. Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
It's like I'm trying to understand. Well, is it one of those things that like you read the thing all the way through, and it's like you understand it while you're reading it, but the second you step back, you're like. Oh, no.
It's disjointed. There's like jumps in the plot.
It's supposed to be like a tone poem? I don't know. It was...
Yeah, we found out after we read it and talked about it that the author didn't actually want to publish it, but his like editor or publisher like forced him to like produce something, and he's like, okay, well, I got this thing. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not ready to publish. And anyway.
Here's this terrible thing that isn't ready for publishing. Put it out.
Okay, great. Let's throw that out there.
But then it became like a classic, like formative sci-fi novel.
Mm.
So very quickly,
or it's regarded as one.
Very quickly, my number 4, before I throw it back to you, was Jack Torrance.
Mm.
So, Mr. Bad Dad with a hatchet, you know.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was a full-on axe, not a hatchet.
I don't even think it requires explanation. Everybody knows that one.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, he's so different in the book. I don't know. That's a whole other story. Okay, it's fine. Our next one is the dad, the titular dad from Miss Doubtfire.
Okay.
Yeah, Robin Williams' character.
Yeah, he was half and half. He was half good dad, half bad dad. He was definitely
maybe
irresponsible.
bad husband, good dad.
Yeah,
horrible
I would
husband.
say
Yeah.
his intentions were to spend time with his children. Unfortunately, he crossed a boundary of his wife's trust to do that.
I just feel like when you were a kid and you watched it, you were like, wow, he is the coolest dad because he throws that party
Yeah, the
at the very beginning. And then when you grow up and you have kids and you watch it and you're like, he's a shithead because he brought, like, she's just trying to do her best to get,
reminds
like,
me of my dad.
not that kind of bad dad
Yeah,
podcast. But, like, he brings the donkey in the house. He wrecks her house. She brings home the cake, and the kids don't even care. And she went out of her way to get this cake because it's the only thing she can do. And, like, I don't know, you feel a lot more for the mom when you rewatch it.
I really want like a montage scene just of all the bad stuff that he did up until the point that this party broke the camel's back.
Right.
Quite literally. Not
Right,
literally.
There's got to be more.
Figuratively.
And then he leaves and he pretends to be a woman to spend time with his kids.
That was a weird theme for some of those movies. Like, I think, not Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence did a whole thing, like Big Mama's House.
Yeah.
There was like all these things about cross-dressing as old ladies.
Yeah.
So we had that, and we had, what's his name? Doing,
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry. There we go.
I wonder if there's a genre of drag queens where you are an old British woman.
It's just an odd, like, instead of coming up with a rational way to get back at least to the point where his wife will allow visitation, he goes full Hail Mary and like dresses up as the old mother nursemaid, and then
drag grandma
lies his way back into his children's lives.
You know that I'm going to have. I'm sorry. Thanks to that little seed that Matt just planted. You know that I'm going to have a weird search history after the next couple of days, just looking up men that dress as old women, old British women.
You're welcome.
Men that cross-dress as the Queen. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you will find it.
My apologies for interrupting. Finish your thought.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just thinking that he then actively tries to ruin his wife's next relationship.
And his children's perception of his ex-wife continuously undermines her.
Yeah.
See, that's the part where he kind of did the bad dad thing right there. I feel like that was the only part where he really played a bad dad. The party definitely was irresponsible.
You could say misguided, like, his heart was maybe in the right place. He just wasn't taking into account the consequences.
He was definitely a horrible husband, though.
But then when he's actively undermining his children's mother, that's when he becomes a bad dad.
Yeah. Okay, I can agree with that. Robin Williams, another guy that can play some lovable but very irresponsible people.
Yeah.
I've never seen him play a true scumbag, though, I don't think. Oh, okay, 1 Hour Photo, Insomnia.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in August Rush?
I don't know.
Is
it something we're going to look up now?
He had like a crew
of
kids.
Yes. He was in August Rush. He was the music guy.
The leader of this group of kid pickpockets and stuff.
Have you seen World's Best Dad?
No.
Starring Robin Williams. Probably only the second time that Robin Williams has sported bare ass in a film. But why is that the point that I'm leading in with?
Good question, Chris.
Bobcat Goldthwait has done a couple films that I've really liked. There was, and now I'm going to be pissed off because I actually did this film for the podcast many years back. But he has done a few films, and that particular one with Robin Williams is probably one of my favorites. Go watch God Bless America. That was a fantastic film that he did. This is his directorial stuff, so he stepped away from acting, and now he's directing a bit. And I always think that he's got a good point to make in his films, as a director anyway. I think he's written both of these films as well. He's not just the director. So I actually have to redo God Bless America at some point. Maybe I'd like to bring you guys on to see your opinion of that film, because we really shit the bed, and that is where the chaos that is Cinematic Anarchy was truly born. Because we tried once to just kind of go point by point through a film. And it was just the worst. It was the worst.
You know what's interesting? It works really well for our TV episodes, but I hate doing it for our movie episodes.
Notes?
Like going through the synopsis.
Plot beat by plot beat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't feel natural. I just felt like just talking about the film in any freaking way that we feel like it is just the best kind of flow
everybody
for us.
watched it. That's why you're here. You don't need to recap it.
Right.
It works for the TV because it's like 45 minutes. I'm not going over that much recap. And it kind of reminds us of what we wanted to talk about.
Right, and a TV show plot isn't as dense as a movie plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also going plot beat by plot beat made the actual episode itself longer than the movie.
Right.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So we're trying to have a discussion. It's like,
ran into
no. It's too long.
Yeah, like our 3-hour-long Forever Night episodes. About a 48-minute television show. I don't know what you're talking about, Chris, making it longer. I love it, and I will never change.
Symbolism.
Don't change. Just enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy what you're
I
doing. But that's my recommendation. God Bless America and the World's Best Dad.
Okay.
Definitely
I just
watch
read
this
the
film.
synopsis for World's Greatest Dad.
World's Greatest
and
Dad.
It's wild.
It is definitely. It was one of the films that he did just before he rest his soul. He passed
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was reaching out and doing some like emotionally like gripping roles. The last couple that he did.
He's in one called Being Human that I've always wanted to watch.
I think he did. Like,
And it's like I think he starts out as like a caveman, and then it goes through like iterations of him throughout time.
Being Human. I'm trying to remember if I've actually watched that. I know I've watched What Dreams May Come, which is like one of my. Honestly, it was a shit.
I love that movie.
It bombed at the box office, but it was one of my favorite films. Honestly,
Yes, I agree.
I think it was the reason why people disliked it as much as they did is because it was one of his first forays into something that touched on really tragic subject matter.
Yeah, he wasn't funny. He wasn't funny, Robin Williams. But he would have moments where he wasn't funny, but then, I don't know. Like, that's really good. And then Cloud Atlas, I thought was really good, which is kind of a similar thing to Being Human. But I always wanted to watch Being Human.
I'm like looking for it here. I'm trying to find it. I'll find it later.
I think it's from 94.
Yeah.
94. Okay, that's way back there then. Because he's got a lot of movies, like a lot.
Yeah.
30 years ago.
I would also recommend Death to Smoochie if you ever get a chance to watch it.
Every time I've thought about watching that movie, something about it turns me off. Like, I don't even want to watch it.
One of those ones you got to put on. You got to play chicken with yourself. Just put it on and sit
Right?
down.
It just seems too much. I don't know.
It's an over-the-top dark comedy. It really is.
Yes.
But which we love, so I think we would probably be fine.
I think what I'm worried about is, like, the secondhand embarrassment.
Oh. Maybe. We made it through Mandy.
Because he's this shamed character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, who are we talking about now?
In Death to Smoochie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like forced out of this character that he has portrayed in an embarrassing way. And I really don't like to watch very embarrassing scenes. I can't handle it.
Okay, that's
I struggle through it.
It's one of those things that you just gotta...
Right?
Nobody can see that. I'm just watching through my fingers, just putting my hands over my eyes and just kind of display the fingers. Okay, well,
yeah.
Nobody can see that. That's a visual gag, and I'm doing it for an audio podcast, which makes no sense. So
It's fine. It's fine.
I tend to do
We
that.
saw it.
Everyone in the room knows. Anyway. Moving on. Okay, so my number 3, Terry O'Quinn and Dylan Walsh, respectively, playing the old and the new stepfather in the movies, The Stepfather. So,
I don't know that movie.
See, I went with Bad
I've
Dads.
had multiple stepfathers, but I don't know that movie.
Dylan Walsh.
Still the wrong Bad Dads podcast.
Yeah. Dylan Walsh did not make it a series, but Terry O'Quinn, his original stepfather, went for like 3 separate movies.
Wow.
I'm not sure he played the stepfather in the 3rd movie, though. I know he did in the 1st and the 2nd one as Jerry Blake. But it was just sort of a guy that was looking for the ideal family, the picturesque family that he wanted. And every time the family started stepping out of line a little bit, a little bit more of him would pour out. Like, they start off the movie with him having killed his last family.
Okay.
And cleaning up.
Loosely based on the mass murderer John List.
Oh.
Yes. And then it moves to the next family that he's with after he's cleaned himself up, and I believe he made himself like an insurance salesman or something to that nature. Something innocuous. And he's trying to keep them under control as well. Like, the daughter starts, expressing herself against his will, and sooner or later they all step out of line or speak out against him, and that's when he starts trying to kill them all too. So
all right,
it's kind of like watching
Bad
Serial Mom, except this one has no humor whatsoever, and it's Serial Stepdad.
Okay, I mean, we agree with you.
Yes. Yes. Well, you haven't seen the movie, so I mean, I guess there's not much more you can do than just say,
We have weird gaps. Mostly was there a supernatural creature in the movie? Okay, then I have not seen it.
It's just, no supernatural, no. Well, he didn't come back as anything supernatural. He's not he's not Freddy, he's not Jason, he's not Michael. So
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Not even Chucky. Yeah. Anyway, so moving on. Number 2. Or did I skip over your number 3? No, did I skip over your number 3?
No, we did Jack Torrance, Dad from Frozen, and Miss Doubtfire. So we're on 2.
Okay. Number 2.
So we're going to go Norman Osborn.
From the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I know. He was a horrible father.
Willem Dafoe.
Horrible person in general. Really.
Willem Dafoe does a great, horrible father.
He does. Great, just insert whatever afterwards. Full stop.
Pretty much.
I actually have to go back and watch the original Spider-Man films, like the Tobey Maguire ones.
They're still so good.
We
watched them with the kids.
They're trying to give him a 4th film for some reason. Like,
Tobey
they're trying
Maguire?
to use that as an excuse to give him another Spider-Man film.
Because it's a nostalgia grab.
Yeah.
I mean, I would still watch it.
He's the only reason I watched the Spider-Man with, what's the one where they got all 3 Spider-Mans?
Oh, the
multiverse
No
one?
Way Home.
No Way Home.
No Way Home?
Yeah.
I watched it for Tobey Maguire, and the gag where, like, he's the only one that makes his own web and they all think it's gross was, like, perfect. I hated the rest of the movie, but that was hysterical.
Did that come out of you? Ugh.
Yeah, they're like, ugh. That was so good. But he's just, he's a bad dad. He's not, he just pushes his son. He compares his son to somebody else and always finds him wanting.
And then he gets consumed by revenge and abandons his child.
Completely
and then
abandons
even
him.
assaults his son's best friend.
Yeah.
Yep, that hits all the check marks for horrible fucking father.
Yeah.
My second might be worse. Oh, he's definitely worse, actually. Mr. James Court from Say Anything. No?
I have seen Say Anything. Isn't that the one where he holds
John
the
Mahoney.
boombox over his head?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I have also seen this movie like a long time ago.
So his whole thing was just sort of lying to his daughter. He was a very nice guy. So the entire film, you're thinking, this is kind of a nice guy. He's a great dad. And by the end of the film, you realize that their entire life has sort of been a lie. And that all the money that he's been bringing in has been basically him committing acts of fraud against the elderly people in the retirement home that he runs.
Oh.
And he's like, he goes, I deserve this. I take care of them better than their own families.
Ooh.
No.
And I am also going to say, as I'm saying this, I forgot to remove Mr. James Court from my list.
Oh.
I was going to put something else in there that I had watched. So I'm going to put that at honorable mentions at the end, seeing as I had forgotten to put him in there.
I think he still qualifies. Stealing from old people because you think you deserve it kind of makes you
and then lying to your entire family about it.
Not just that, but trying to break up the relationship between your daughter and the guy that she's in love with. Like, working really hard to, like, undermine that relationship the entire time.
Yeah.
So, okay. I guess that would be your number 1 now.
Yeah, we're going to go with the true villain of the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie, Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe, who lies in bed
Freeloader for decades.
while his family starves. And then they're like, "Oh, I got a golden ticket," and he's like, "Fuck yeah!" And he just gets up out of bed
to go eat some chocolate.
All of a sudden, the guy can dance.
I can walk. I can dance. I will go with you. Not your mother, who slaves every day to support the entire family.
Soup. Yeah,
I am going to do this thing with you.
Yeah.
So he's horrible to his own daughter.
Because I am such a shitbag.
Yeah. And in the book, it's even worse. In the book, Charlie is literally starving to death when they get the golden ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, no.
I
never really liked Grandpa Joe either, even though he tried to be kind of like the fun, let's do what you want to do kind of grandpa. He was the fun grandpa, but he was also really, really irresponsible. Like, dude, you should be pulling the kid back a little bit. Before you guys
like Miss Doubtfire levels of irresponsibility.
Yeah.
What was that fizzy pop stuff that they almost got eaten up by the rotors?
Yeah.
The outdoor exhaust fan?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, Grandpa, tell him to walk away. So, my number one for bad dads here, again, like I feel like this other guy was much worse, but my number one was an obvious number one. It was sort of me throwing something in there that, okay, fine, yeah. Darth Vader. Anakin Skywalker was a horrible, horrible father. I mean, find a way to tell your kids that they're related to each other before they get to the point where they're like...
Well, he didn't even know he had twins, right? He doesn't know he has kids until later.
I think... As far as he's concerned, both of his children died.
Right, because he killed their mother.
Right.
Yeah.
But no. She died of sadness.
He thought he killed her, and then she died of sadness.
Yeah.
We talked about this at length on the Bad Moms episode, so we've already covered that.
You know, cuts off his own kid's hand. There's all sorts of other things in there that are just not... Tries to turn him into a completely evil human being.
That Luke is his son.
Have you ever seen the comic about Darth? It's like Darth Vader, and he's like, that guy can't be my son, and then he cuts his hand off, and he just yeets himself off the side of the platform, and he's like, that was so overly dramatic. Oh my god, he really is my son.
I would have done the same thing. Yep, that's my son.
That's my son.
Right. No, I thought that was he's probably one of the worst fathers in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Because of the power that he wields and how irresponsible. I mean, like maliciously he uses it.
I just thought they made Anakin like a
little two-dimensional.
He's just a dumb character. Like he's just such a dumb character. And then the payoff of him becoming Darth Vader was like, well, fucking of course. He never followed a rule in his entire life. Of course he was going to end up the bad guy, and he ends up the bad guy because he was like, they didn't give me what I wanted, and so I decided to go kill all the children.
They didn't give me my promotion that I earned.
So I went to a building and killed all of the kids in it because I'm mad.
It's the superpower version of falling up.
It's so bad.
Or falling down with Michael Douglas.
So I got you.
Yeah, you got me.
It's just, I don't know. The whole prequel trilogy.
Yeah, no. I could forget
my daughter.
I would appreciate
my daughter wanted to watch episode 1. She was watching it at the dentist. And I forgot how good the music is in episode 1, but how dumb the movie is.
I think that if anybody...
They were really onto something with pod racing.
Yeah, well...
Maybe.
The video games were fun.
Well, the video games
like the video game.
All right, so let's move into... Do you have any honorable mentions?
We do. We have another galactically bad dad, which would be the dad from Dune, Duke Leto Atreides, who could have taken his family and just run, but instead he decides to go to Arrakis, and he starts a war that will kill like 61 billion people.
I have to watch the second film.
But he doesn't know that.
No?
Yeah.
I have to watch the second film. And apparently now they're making a television series.
Well, they made the Bene Gesserit television
it's a prequel.
Series, right? Or are they making another one?
They have an MMORPG, too.
I haven't looked at the previews for it. I just saw, I was just scrolling through HBO Max last night, and I was just saw that
they're making... It's like the Bene Gesserit.
Okay.
The the ladies.
I have
don't know.
another honorable mention.
Okay.
Victor Frankenstein.
Victor
From the
Frankenstein.
book. Yeah, the one
Victor
he
Frankenstein.
creates a monster and then he's like, "Ew,
He
gross."
builds a person, and then when it wakes up and wants some attention and love, he runs away and has like a depressive breakdown.
He has a nervous breakdown,
Yeah.
for like 3 months. And then he wakes up and he's like, well, hopefully it ran off.
It'll be fine.
Okay. My only honorable mention is the one that I should have shuffled into my list, and I forgot to shuffle it into my list. Have you seen the movie Chinatown, starring Jack Nicholson?
No.
No.
Is there a supernatural creature in it?
No, there's no supernatural creature. No,
Then the answer is probably no.
It's a 1974 film. It's sort of like an old murder mystery kind of film, where Jack Nicholson plays a PI in the film, and he's trying to figure out why the husband of Evelyn Cross, played by Faye Dunaway, had been murdered. So they're going throughout the entire film, and she thought initially, or people in general, thought upon the initial investigation that she killed him because he was cheating on her, but she was trying to hide a secret the entire film. Turns out that the secret, and I'm going to give it away, because this is the big plot twist at the end of the film, and if it's not supernatural, so you may not just rush out to find the film.
Yeah.
John Huston plays Noah Cross, Faye Dunaway's father in the film. Turns out that the big secret she's been trying to keep the entire time is that her father raped her, and she carried the baby and is now going around calling her sister. So basically, she's been trying to keep the sister, like, this is the sticking point for this wealthy man, is like basically keep the sister away from the father, because the father wants his daughter, so to speak.
Oh.
So this entire film is about her trying to hide her sister/daughter away from her father, who has been trying to treat her like a daughter. It was just so messed up. I'm just sitting here like, when I realized what the plot twist was, I'm like, I think I moved away
that's a bad dad.
I think, yeah, that's a horrible father. That should have been like my number one, number two. It's a horrible father.
Wow. Yeah. That's did you ever watch Sense8?
I have heard of it. I have not watched it.
Oh, then I won't tell you. Never mind.
No.
Forget I said anything.
No.
When
Hey, wait
you
a
watched
minute.
it, we'll discuss.
This is Cinematic Anarchy. We're all about ruining shit here. Spoil the plot.
It's not really that big of a plot. There's a character named Wolfgang, and he hates his dad, and you know he hates his dad pretty much the whole series, but you don't know why until the second season, and you find out that his sister/mother is his sister and his mother, because his dad raped his sister and she got pregnant, and then he's the baby.
Okay, so basically the same kind of thing there.
Yeah, so basically the same thing. I mean, that's a really great show. That's like the least of the interesting things that happen, so like I would watch it anyway.
Just not
That's
set
just
as
tragic backstory for Wolfgang.
Yeah.
That's the more modern take, not set as a 1920s crime drama.
Right. Yeah, except everybody's he's connected telepathically to like 8 other people around the world, so it's one of the few television shows that ended exactly the way that I wanted it to end.
In a good way.
And like I have no note, like it was perfect. It went
Like, it
beginning
gave
to
you a
end.
satisfying ending.
Complete story.
Yeah, like it was great.
I
They
think-
knew what we wanted with an ending movie. They made it. And it was perfect.
I think that's where Netflix has disappointed me, like, time and time again, is where they like, okay, we've got this wonderful new series we're going to put out, and it's like it gets 1 or 2 seasons in and they just cut it off.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, there's no conclusive ending to any of this. Why?
Right. Well, that's what they tried to do, and then they got it brought back for like the fan 3rd season, which is just a movie. But that's fine, because the movie because it ends on this horrible cliffhanger. And so the movie wraps everything up and then gives you everything that you wanted. Like it wraps up like 3/4 of the way through, and then they're like, here's 25% of everything that you wanted.
There is
Just don't watch it with anyone you're not comfortable watching sex scenes with.
Okay, so we will not have my son in the room while watching the television show. I get it.
No, the opening scene is like a rainbow dildo falling on the floor and like splashing. So don't watch it with anyone that you know comfortable watching sex scenes with.
Okay, so this is not a movie where I'm like, hey, let's have a bunch of people come over. Have you seen this yet? No, let's go ahead. Let's watch it.
No,
not at all.
No,
Okay.
not if you don't want them to be friends or you want them to be more than friends. I don't know. Like, make your choices, but know what you're making.
I mean, I've almost lost friends over questionable material before. I told you the Romeo and Juliet story.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's woo, that was a film. Anyway, any other bad dads to mention? Anything?
No, I think that's it for us.
I mean, it's pretty much
Do
it.
you have
for
any
me,
more?
too.
Matt's like
let's
my
see.
father.
That's like the upper. I mean, I could say my father too, but I don't know who the hell he is.
Well, that makes him a really bad dad.
Yeah. I did the whole genetic testing thing too, the Ancestry.com thing. So I basically gave my DNA over to the government. Here you go, guys. Tell me what's going on, and I found my a cousin of mine, and it is his brother's daughter. So I've talked to this woman. We've talked about getting together a few times, but I never follow through because I'm like, I'm almost in my 50s. Do I really even want to know at this point?
Yeah. Just for curiosity's sake.
I don't think I would want to meet him because there's nothing that can really be gained outside of knowing my medical history in case we have something horrible happen. You know, hey, by the way, I might need a liver, Dad.
Yeah.
But I don't drink that much, so we're good.
Yeah. I don't know. We did that. We did the genetic testing. I mean, my parents were married for like 52 years. I know exactly. Like, I had a great dad, so I don't have any dad horror stories. But we did the genetic testing, and it turns out I'm like the whitest white person. Like, it was the funniest thing to come out of it. Matt had, like, you know, they show you where you're from, like your ancestry, and so he had this huge, like, all colors all over the place.
You know, fractions of percentages of like Native American and Sub-Saharan African and like Far East and like all over like Europe and whatever. And Rachel's like 97%.
No, 99.9% European.
Yeah,
1%,
European.
0.1%
but
you.
More specifically, it was like 97% Northwestern European.
Yeah.
So like British, Scottish, Irish.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, my entire thing is Irish, Welsh, and then French, but for some reason they were insistent Canadian French.
Quebecois.
So that's my entire lineage right there. It's like, you have a little bit of French in you. You go, you forgot to qualify that with Canadian. You know? There's a difference. There's like,
don't say it too loud. They're sensitive about it.
There's like France French and there's Canadian French. There's a
Yeah.
vast difference between the two. So it's like nobody ever goes, you know what? I want to learn French so I can go to Canada. You know, nobody really does that.
If you want to go to, was it Montreal?
Yeah.
Then yeah, you do.
Yeah. But like, there's very few people that really think that for the first thing when they're like, oh yeah, we're going. What are you going to take French classes for? Oh yeah, because I'd like to visit Paris someday. Very few people go, hey, Montreal. I want to be able to speak with those relatives that don't speak English, or they do speak English but they refuse.
That's probably more.
That's usually more accurate.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, this has been a fun little episode, and it was a little shorter than we normally have it. So that's nice too.
Woo-hoo. Works out.
That'll get me to bed in enough time to go to work and leave early tomorrow. Well, they gave us a nice little gift of, hey, by the way, you can go home an hour early tomorrow. I'm like, oh, an hour instead of just stay home. Nice, thank you. You still have to do work. Do work.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to do a little bit of self-promotion?
Sure. We just started our Lex podcast. So if you like Canadian sci-fi and body horror and absolute what the fuckness, we started our Lex podcast, which I didn't realize that the first 4 episodes have some pretty great cameos. Like the first one has, why did his name just leave my mind?
Malcolm McDowell?
I don't know. No, it has. Yeah, Malcolm McDowell's in it. Tim Curry is in an episode. Rutger Hauer is in
Barry
an episode,
Bostwick.
and Barry Bostwick
And
is in an episode.
You bring that up every time. I have no fucking
Fine.
idea who Barry
That's
Bostwick
fine.
is.
I don't.
You don't know who
Why
Barry
he's-
Bostwick is?
I don't know why he's significant.
Yeah, I was like,
But
he's in
Rachel
Rocky
brings
Horror
it up
Picture
every
Show, and he's like, So anyway, we're moving through that and having a great time. And
So you've already
that's our
started
next major project.
putting out episodes?
Yeah, we've already started.
Have you-
Yeah, we have 3 or 4 episodes up.
Okay, I have to go hunt that down.
It's called
now.
the Dead Do Not podcast.
A Lex rewatch.
Okay.
A Lex rewatch is important because Dead Do Not podcast does not show up our
You
podcast.
can't search that. You have to search Lex,
If
and
you
then
just search
it'll show up.
a Lex rewatch, ours pops right up to the top.
Why
Yeah.
is it impossible to find the other Y?
I
I
have
think
no
because
idea.
dead and podcast are very common words in
Combinations.
the names of podcasts.
Okay. I'm going to have to search that up because I've actually seen Lex.
Woohoo!
And tomorrow night I'm going to start watching Forever Night. So that
You should.
I can
and
listen.
you should live text me as you do it, and I will walk you through it.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Okay.
who is this guy? Why did he just show up? I'll tell you all about it.
Guess what
Don't
I'm
worry,
watching?
LaCroix comes back. That's all you need to know. LaCroix comes back.
You know, I'm almost disappointed that I spent as much as I did getting that third season, though, when I can actually go over to Apple and they have the third season on Apple, and I could have bought it
Yeah.
at 99 cents an episode.
But you wanted the physical media.
I
How much
know.
did you spend on the third season?
I don't want to tell you.
Oh, no, you should tell me.
No, I don't want to tell you. I don't.
You should tell me, Chris. I'll tell you how much I paid Fred Mullen for all of his tapes.
it was around $150.
Okay, I mean, that's, yeah.
Because the third season, in North American format, and in Region 1 format, that is very tough to find right now, because they put out just a limited
yes.
run of the third season, and an even
Right,
more
yes.
limited, like, it would have cost me more to buy the box set.
Yeah.
Because I think people are asking, like, $400 or $500 for the full box set, like, all in one thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild how unavailable it is. And then it's on Apple.
Right now I'm looking at it like $14.99 for each season in its entirety. Well, I do like my physical media, so I'm just gonna have to justify it that way.
Yeah, you've got it.
And actually,
Just enjoy it.
$150 was kind of generous considering that was probably one of the. And it's in decent condition. It's got a little bit of box wear, but
Is it the green one?
green.
Is it green?
I'm gonna have to go look. I'm not in the same room with it
Okay.
right now.
Okay, well,
I
fine,
haven't
whatever.
committed
You
colors
don't
to
know the
memory
colors
yet.
of the seasons, Chris.
I haven't committed colors to memory yet. I can
It's
tell
fine.
you.
Season 1 is blue, season 2 is red, and season 3 is green. That's all you need to know.
Then
for the
more
Sony
than likely,
TriStar
it's the
release.
green one.
That's the one that came at, like, Sony TriStar released it. And it was like, it had extras, it had cast interviews, it had all kinds of stuff on it. So those are worth finding.
There you go.
If you can find them.
That's why you get the physical media. That's
Yeah.
why you get the
Bonus
physical
content.
media. The bonus content.
Bonus
because you don't
content,
get
yeah.
outside of Voodoo's actually been pretty good about it lately. Like if you purchase a movie that has like a Voodoo code to it, you almost don't have to get the physical media anymore because you can purchase the same thing. I guess it's now Fandango at home or whatever.
Yeah.
But it gives you all the special features that were attached to the Blu-ray release.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's almost like, hey, we don't really want you to buy the physical media anymore. Come watch this over here. My worry is that they're going to get so used to, like, if they've done away with a lot of physical media stores, it's getting tougher and tougher to find places that actually sell decent physical media.
Yeah.
So my worry is that as it falls by the wayside, the interest in providing all those extra little tidbits, the director's commentaries and all
away.
that stuff.
Yeah.
And I like that stuff. So
I know. Me too.
it's kind of a shitty thought that it would go that way. So last little bit for us, you can find our podcast literally where it's been. If you're already listening, you know where it is. Go to Spotify, go to Good Pods, go to Facebook to find the links to different things. We are on Instagram, X, pretty much. We're everywhere for some reason, and some of them are not as well kept up. Don't try to find us on Reddit, because we are on there, but I haven't kept up on Reddit in almost 2 years. So,
Ah, nice.
you'll see where I hit the wall, and I was just like, I don't, nobody's even looking at anything on Reddit, so what's the point?
Yeah.
Reddit is sort of a niche community. You've really got to interact with certain people to get any kind of traction there, and I just don't have the time or the energy to deal with the Redditors.
No, correct.
Yeah.
Now, outside of that, as our good friend Nico will say, and she is back on the podcast as of the last episode, thankfully. Oh yeah, drink some water, you thirsty bitches. I had to think about that for a minute. I had to. What did she say?
You squirreled away there for a minute.
Yeah, I zoned out. Like what? There it is. Okay.